Obi Wan Kenobi is a sequel spin-off to the sequel of the prequel of a movie made 45 years ago, and a follow-up of some of the worst Star Wars fan fiction ever made. The show's very good because it begins with a montage of the Prequel Trilogy. One of the first things I noticed is that the cinematography and the production design was decent in just the first 3 minutes of the actual show, instantly making Kenobi better than the Book of Booby Fat. So good job, Disney. You successfully made a Star Wars product that's not bottom of the barrel material. Congratulations. Now then, this show sucks ass so hard it's choking on inverted intestines. One of the major problems I noticed is that every single living being in this show is embarrassingly incompetent in some way, shape, or form. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Weren't you punks fucking bitching about Rey being too perfect? Now you bitch about incompetence? You tell me what that shit means. To that I say yes, but there is a logical explanation to that, and it's not hypocrisy. In fact, the two problems are much more similar than you may realize. You see, Rey is strangely good with the Force, in spite having no experience, so she automatically has the resources to get out of any conflict. In the Obi Wan show, since every character is so incompetent, the good guys could do the stupidest thing possible and still solve whatever problem they're in. They may be opposite situations, but they both conclude as the same problem. Characters progressing the plot in a way that makes no fucking sense.
Magic.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just a four-legged man that's pregnant sideways. This show runs on broken premises, or at the very least premises that require talent to make work. Talent that whoever wrote this clearly doesn't care about having. The show starts off with Kenobi saving a young Leia from Inquisitors, even though he and she never personally met. Then he finds out Darth Vader was his old Padawan friend, even though he heard Palpatine refer to Anakin as such in a hologram. And then he fights Vader, even though they haven't seen each other since Mustafar. And then he and Leia become good friends by the end of the series, even though she didn't show much sadness over his death. It's that guy from the show I didn't watch! You know what the problem with these Disney Star Wars stories are? They're not written by writers. They're written by writer wannabes that don't understand the concept of immersion. They can only write stories in a meta way, meaning they write stories that simply look like actual stories, but don't have the proper context to be stories. The fools think they have properly made Star Wars material simply by referencing past Star Wars content, without thinking of the actual implications of doing so. For example, this shot right here is them telling us that Obi-Wan is considering being a badass Jedi again, which is supposed to be charitable. But, in actuality, he looks like an idiot that's begging to be caught by the Empire. And that's why these shows have nothing but references. It's the only way they know how to Star Wars. And unfortunately, the stuff that is new is not any better. I mean, it's not any worse either, that's how sad this entire show is, but Reva is a poorly executed villain. She's basically evil until the story decides she's not. They clearly wanted her to be like Anakin Skywalker, but instead they made her like White Diamond. I understand she was traumatized by Order 66. I do. And her plans to assassinate Vader, oh for fuck's sake, are commendable. But that doesn't excuse or even explain why she would want to yell at people, threaten Owen as if she knew him, act like a piece of shit Taliban, or go after Luke Skywalker. Like, she already knew that Vader already knew of her assassination plan, so going after Luke literally makes zero sense. Well, obviously she was going to capture Luke to please Vader and make him immediately forget everything about her motivations, punk. I have nothing against Reva's actress. I'm sure she's a swell person. Reva's terribleness is the result of poor writing. Normally I wouldn't bother mentioning that because, like, no shit, but either her stuff is fucked up or news outlets are ass talking again. The boulders hit Vader like little bean bags. The shaky cam just won't stop. That's not how lightsabers work. Right after knowing his friend is truly gone, Obi-Wan spares Vader's life anyway. Writing tip. If you're gonna make a spin-off prequel, do not put the character in a situation where he could have prevented the events of the original story. It looks foolish for that. So yeah, Obi Wan Kenobi. Terrible show. Not only does it have decent ideas that are horrifically executed, but it also straight up has some terrible ideas. I don't recommend this show. at all. If you really want an Obi Wan story that takes place between Episode 3 and Star Wars,
read a book, people!
And lastly, I noticed a trend where Disney is trying to market everything to everyone. For example, they make Darth Vader relatable to whiny toddlers by having him act like one in combat.
It's a no